You're watching the Run For It YouTube channel. I'm Finlay, and this episode is on the new Altra FWD Via running shoes. Altra sent a pair for testing, so we'll cover the tech, how they fit and feel, and what they're best suited to. Hope you enjoy. The FWD Via technically replaced the Via Olympus 2. However, these have a 4mm drop as opposed to a 0mm drop. They also have a brand new cushioning compound. Altra will continue to make 0mm drop shoes, but it's clear there's a lot of demand for Altra's signature FootShape fit with a positive heel to toe drop, hence why these have been introduced to the range. As mentioned, the midsole has a 4mm drop. With a 37mm high heel and 33mm high forefoot, there's a relatively high degree of cushioning under your feet. But the big piece of innovation in the FWD Via is the new EGO FLO midsole. This supercritical midsole foam is infused with nitrogen, and that delivers an ultra lightweight and responsive feel. You should also be able to see the prominent curve from heel to toe, and this rocker geometry obviously helps smooth out transitions from landing through to takeoff, and it also helps improve propulsion. The lightweight upper features Altra's original FootShape fit. All Altra models are designed to fit the natural shape of your feet, hence why they use the terminology FootShape fit. But the original fit offers the roomiest feel. So in comparison to the Experience Flow, for example, which features Altra's standard FootShape fit, the FWD Via's original FootShape fit will feel even roomier. Naturally, this roomy shaped toe box should work very well for runners who have broader shaped feet or prefer their feet being able to splay out in their running shoes. It should also work very well for those of you who have bunions in your feet, because that part of the shoe in normal running shoes can easily cause pressure if that is the case. It's also worth pointing out that you can see how broad the base of the shoe as well. So this original FootShape fit coupled with this really broad base makes the FWD Via very stable underfoot. On to the testing then. The cushioning feels relatively firm when you first step into it. However, after a few miles, it starts to soften up and start to feel more compliant under your feet. And this is definitely the plushest feeling foam we've tested from any Altra running shoe, although it still sits on the responsive end of the scale, but this is pretty typical of how most nitrogen infused foams feel. The cushioning feels relatively protective under your feet and very lively and propulsive to run in. This sensation is enhanced by that prominent rocker geometry, and it moves your feet forward in a fast and efficient manner. Going back to the point we just made about stability, the responsive nature of the midsole coupled with that broad base creates a really stable underfoot feel. However, this tends to be the case with most Altra running shoes. We tested these out at slow and steady efforts, as you can see from these Strava images. The midsole is definitely plush enough to run in at slower paces, but you're likely to get the most out of the cushioning when you're moving with a little bit more purpose. And that's because the midsole feels lively, energetic, and smooth to run in as you pick up the pace. Ultimately, the cushioning is designed to propel you forward, and it feels best when you're running at steadier efforts in it. If you run easy in the FWD Via, you're likely to find that your muscles are just working a little bit more and harder than they would in a higher stacked, softer alternative. However, this is not necessarily a bad thing. It really depends what outcome you're looking for. To explain further, if you'd like your muscles and your legs to feel as fresh as possible at the end of an easy run, then the FWD Via wouldn't be our first choice for that. On the other hand, it's easy to get a bit lazy in shoes that offer a lot of help. So if your goal is to focus a little bit more on your form and activate your working muscles a little bit more, then these will be a great choice for those runs. For me, one of the most noticeable things was that I could feel my feet being activated more with every step, and that's likely down to this roomy FootShape fit, because my feet were very splayed out in the shoes and I could just feel them working with each stride. And that's likely going to have some positive benefits for my running economy because I'm going to help improve the strength in the feet or certainly maintain what I've already got in my feet and my ankles. However, I'll integrate the FWD Via into my training on only specific runs because if I've done a really hard training day, the following day I want to take as much stress as possible off my legs and really kind of take that pressure off my feet and working muscles. Whereas on the days when I'm feeling a bit fresher and I'm in a position to be able to work things a little bit more and absorb that load, that's where the FWD Via will be a great shoe and hopefully have positive benefits for my overall running. From a distance perspective, these are one of the best ultra running shoes for longer distance runs, although the responsive nature of the midsole is probably best suited to those shorter to moderate distance runs. If you're a heel striker, you might just find that cushioning in the heel is a little bit too firm for those long, slower day runs. However, mid to forefoot strikers could find this cushioning feels very comfortable for those longer, slower efforts. Overall, the FWD Via are great daily mileage running shoes, and these are probably the most versatile feeling model that Altra has produced. Of course, comfort is heavily influenced by your biomechanics and your preferences, but most runners are going to find the FWD Via are Altra's most comfortable model for those steady paced run days. And actually, it's worth mentioning that the propulsive nature of the midsole means you can definitely use these for some brisker efforts as well. And naturally, some runners will find these very comfortable for their slower paced days too. And finally, their original FootShape fit will let your feet splay as naturally as possible in the upper of the shoes. In terms of comparisons, we mentioned the EGO FLO earlier. I certainly found that the FWD Via feels much more cushioned than the EGO FLO, and with that original FootShape fit, it offers a roomier fit than the EGO FLO too. From other brands, the FWD Via feels like a slightly more propulsive Clifton, which is very high praise indeed. However, it would be wrong to compare these to max cushioned alternatives such as the Bondi, because the FWD Via just doesn't feel anything like as built up as an option such as those. But going back to the Clifton point, a lot of runners do find the Clifton runs slightly narrow, so if that's the case for you, then these would potentially be a great option. That brings me to the end of the episode. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions at all, please comment and we'll get back to them as soon as we can. If you enjoyed the episode, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. See you soon.